So here we're going to insert the canvas into the front of the wool jacket. All right, so our front of the wool jacket has been sewn and our canvas has been sewn and our shoulder reinforcement pad has been attached to our canvas, and now we're going to lay the canvas into the front of the wool jacket. Okay, so lay it on, match up your edges to start, and just, you know, there might be places where your canvas is a little smaller or bigger, and that's okay as long as it's not a lot. All right, but it should match up pretty well. And then just start pinning from the center out. Okay. Um, the hardest part, I think, will be, through the bust. And if you have a dress form, you can kind of try to like put this on the dress form as you go, and check it, and then re evaluate and readjust and whatever you need to do. Okay, so again, I'm just trying to get my edges to line up, and I'm just pinning in. And again, I'm kind of working from the center and working my way out. So I'm working from the center down, I'm working to the center up, I'm working the center to the right, I'm working the center to the left, just slowly going, and I'm just pinning it. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to end up doing diagonal basting stitches through this once we have everything lined up from pins. Okay, so once we've pinned this all on, we'll do a few rows of diagonal basting just to hold this in place. Okay, so there's not too much I can say here now. I'm just going to keep pinning this the best I can to get all the edges lined up, and then I'm going to start basting it. Notice I'll put it on a form here and just see that that everything's hanging nicely together. I don't want to see any wrinkles or puckers or anything like that. Anything pulling against each other. It should all be falling nicely. Okay. I also like to pin around the bust area, make sure the busts are pushed out together, even, that there's no rippling or puckering or strange happenings around that area. Okay. And then once you have it pinned pretty well, you can, if you have a form, I suggest putting it up against your form a few times and seeing how it looks. Remember to be careful because your armholes and your necklines are not stay stitched. So be careful when handling your garment. Okay. And you'll notice on the form, I'm just kind of pinning it there and seeing how it's all falling. Okay. If you don't have a form, just do your best. Okay. And, this form is not exactly the right fit for, this garment. You can see also that some of the canvas is a little longer than the wool, especially right under the armhole there. And that's okay. As long as it's all lining up nicely and smooth, that's what we care about. Okay, later, once this is all basted together, if any of the canvas is longer than the wool, then we will trim that away later once we finish actually hand stitching this together. So basically, just keep watching through this. There's not much left for me to say at this point. Once we get towards the end of me, once I finish basting it, I'll say a few other things. But basically, once this is pinned, you're just going to want to do your diagonal basting stitch through this. And remember, your diagonal basting stitches, don't do them really short and close together. They should be about 3 inches, give or take, apart, 3 to 4 inches. And you're going to do as many rows as you need to keep this together, because all these pins in the center are going to come out. Okay, these pins are just there to hold everything together right now. You'll see me taking them out as I baste, and I might put them into the sides or something like that. But really, don't not baste not enough, okay? Or don't baste not enough. The basting is really your friend here, okay? And you want to use it to really secure the canvas into the wool. okay, and make them like they're one piece. All right, so you'll see me again doing quite a few rows here. I think I do like 3 or 4, maybe even 5, and I'll be adjusting it too a little bit. I'll be moving pins out of the way and putting them in the side, and just kind of like making sure it's laying nice and flat. The hardest part will be around the bust. Okay, again, I have a dress form that I'll kind of put this on, and it helps me kind of push that bust out and get a better um, fit there, or be able to fit the two pieces together easier. So I'll actually put this on the dress form a few times, and just to kind of make sure everything's hanging nicely together and fitting together well. Notice here I'm putting it to the form, and this is really to make sure that the bust, of the form is pushing the canvas and the wool out kind of together, and it made it a little easier for me to baste those two layers together the way they should be when they fall over the bust. Now again, if you don't have a form at home, that's fine. Just do your best. If you have a pressing ham or something when it's laying on the table, you can put it underneath there maybe, and it could help with pushing those layers out. Um, you just have to do your best, and just make sure there's no puckers or wrinkles, or two fabrics aren't pulling against each other, and that they're hanging nicely with each other as you baste them together. Once you finish your hand basting, you can remove any pins from inside the garment. Also, trim away any of the canvas that's coming out past the wool. All right, be careful not to trim the wool away, but trim the hair canvas even to the wool. And just pin around the edge of the garment. Okay, so notice I'm putting the pins in perpendicular to the garment. Okay, just around the edges. Pin like that. Make sure there aren't any more pins in the center from when we first were laying the canvas into the wool. And um, you'll have it. Your canvas is now set into your wool jacket, and we can start prepping it to do the pad stitching and do the taping of the roll line and the lapel.